Alright, so I just turned my computer off, and then I remembered that I still haven't done the book vlog for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And so I figured, screw it, I'll just record it on my phone. But then I remember that my phone doesn't have all that much storage space on it, and I wouldn't be able to record like a book vlog length video. So I'm just gonna do the audio. It's not like I do anything important with the video on the book vlogs anyway. There's no reason you need to see my face. There's no reason you need to see anything. I will either put nothing up, which is more likely, or I will put like an image of the book. Anyways, so Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets I finished reading a couple days ago, and I thought it was really, really good. Now, I kind of question whether or not it was as good as the last book. At the very end, it hit highs that the first book never hit. But, it kind of also hit lows that the first book never hit. It was way more mean-spirited, at least when it was mean-spirited at all. And I mean that towards Harry. Malfoy was more annoying, and by Malfoy I mean both Draco and Lucius Malfoy. Like, I said it, I think, talking about the Mage Imperator. I could be wrong. It may have been talking about Draco Malfoy in the last one, that there's an art to creating a villain who you can root against, but who is nonetheless tolerable. Draco Malfoy is intolerable. I don't just want him to lose, I want to stop reading about him. And that is a serious problem with the book. Lucius Malfoy is essentially the same way. He gets some comeuppance at the end, but quite frankly, it's not fucking enough. I mean, especially considering some of the things that he's done. I thought it would end with him getting sent to Azkaban, and I still hope that he meets that fate later on, though I don't imagine he does. I don't know, maybe maybe when Voldemort is actually standing up and walking around again, maybe Lucius will start fighting for him again, and then maybe he'll die, in that context. I know that Draco lives through the entire series, because I know he's in the distant sequel thing that J.K. Rowling did way, way later. And so, yeah. So many things that make him such a bigger piece of shit in this novel than he was in the last one. Primary among them being that he's apparently like a massive fucking racist, but against muggles and their children, even if those children are not muggles. By the way, here's a question. And by the way, I'm not... Okay, the plot of the book is that, okay, I'll go through it chronologically. It starts out with the Dursleys, who are worse in this than they were in the last one, which you wouldn't fucking think is possible. But they are nice to him at first when they think he can use magic on them. But when they find out he can't, because of a house elf, They lock him in his room and deliberately underfeed him. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be funny. Or, like, not horrifying. Like, are you fucking serious? At least it's portrayed as a bad thing. So it's not really... Do you know what? Actually, no. I was about to say it's not really offensive. It is fucking offensive. Not because she portrayed it, but because she portrayed it so nonchalantly. It's just... Anyways, he escapes. The fact that he has to fucking escape, of course, which should mean he shouldn't go back there, but he fucking does. God. I hate the Dursleys. Again, it's not just that they're mean, they're insufferable to read about. And I don't understand why Dumbledore keeps sending Harry back there. So, anyways, Dobby, the house elf, who basically made the child abuse ratchet up. He warned Harry not to go back to Hogwarts because shit was gonna go down. And then Harry went back to Hogwarts anyway. He spent some time with Ron and the Weasleys, but that doesn't matter. Though it matters in exactly one capacity. It explains to us why... It explains to us why it doesn't have to be that Harry stays with the Dursleys. Because they were willing to take basically custody of him for months. Why not just adopt him full time? I mean, yeah, I know that's a lot to say. Oh, why not adopt a child? But you were willing to do it for at least a few months, so why not? Especially considering, his alternative is his extremely abusive aunt and uncle. So, then they, So what happens, the shit that goes down is that a monster starts attacking all of the people who aren't pure, who are either the descendants of, basically not the descendants of two wizards. All of the wizards there who are the descendants of either, a wizard and a muggle or two muggles. So, like, Hermione is that way. And she is eventually attacked. But anyway, so this monster goes around, it turns out to be a basilisk, goes around turning people to stone. We learn that Harry can talk to snakes, and then, basically people after Peoples is turned to stone. Lucius Malfoy gets Dumbledore, no longer the headmaster of Hogwarts for 5 seconds. Snape is awful, though more tolerable. Snape is kind of what those other characters would be if they were less annoying. Harry is very briefly on Quidditch, which still makes no fucking sense. I stand by everything I said about Quidditch and how awful it is. And I don't know if I made this point in the last one, but how is there only one fucking sport in the wizarding world? That's a question. That's a question that I think warrants asking. And especially considering that we now, though there is, to be fair, there is a potential explanation now for why it might be that that in general that the wizarding world is less concerned with the safety of their children, and that is healing magic. A broken bone is nothing to them, so that's a reason why the ground isn't padded. I still don't buy it because it's still legit possible for someone to die. So I still think it's pretty implausible, but it's less implausible than it was before before the book, kind of gave me that realization by having that happen. Lockhart is also annoying. He's the defense against the dark arts teacher in this one. I am now under the understanding that defense against the dark arts teachers, the books go through them. Anyways, we in this book meet the primary antagonist. Turns out to be, spoiler alert, Tom Riddle, who is Voldemort from the past, preserved in a diary. And stuff happens. The climax is awesome. The climax is super awesome and amazing. And the mystery to it is really good, too. I was deeply hoping that Lucius... I knew it couldn't be Draco, even though I kind of wanted to be. I was hoping that Lucius would be the heir of Slytherin, because then he could die. Though seeing... having it be the past version of Voldemort... does give the good thing, which is a point to the existence of this book and a connection between it and all of the others, because otherwise it would have nothing to do with Voldemort, which would have been a pretty bad thing. What else? Hermione is still my favorite character. Harry is still a little too shitty for my taste, just as a person. He is more mature in this book than he was in the last one. Not by too terribly much. Though it is noticeable. He's... doesn't really act like a little shit in this one. I didn't get the sense. And when he does, it's much more understandable. Because has a reason to, though. I still am annoyed by the by the way that the world building prioritizes the short-term good of the story over making any fucking sense. I feel like J.K. Rowling could have just as easily come up with a sport that makes sense instead of Quidditch, and could probably have had it be just as good. Oh, and that reminds me, in the book, one of the things that happens briefly but is no longer relevant very quickly because Quidditch stops being important Apparently, the brooms for Quidditch, every student uses and has their own broom for Quidditch, and uh, students with more money are allowed to buy better ones. Like, if you're gonna let that, like, if you care so little about sportsmanship that you're gonna let someone buy victory, in essence, why even bother having Quidditch matches? Like, why isn't the equipment standardized? Why doesn't every student in Quidditch use the same broom? Like, I don't think in real sports that you're allowed to, I don't think there's any, like, hockey players aren't all allowed to buy sticks of higher and lower quality, especially not in children's leagues. Little league baseball players aren't allowed to use better bats or actually, come to think of it, I was allowed to do something very similar to that. Um, though I imagine there are still regulations, like pretty stringent regulations, to where it's not going to be something that gives you a massive advantage. It just seems a little bit contrived just to make Draco and Lucius more aggravating. What else? Anyways, let's see. I'm trying to think. I like the parallels that were drawn between Harry and Voldemort. I like it did that. It was just kind of really well written and stuff. And that's all I think I have to say about that. I can't think of anything else. This is why I didn't finish up through the song. Oh, one other thing I want to say. My point about population, about how everyone should be a wizard now, is not altered by the existence of squibs. Someone made a comment about that. No. My point is still valid for one simple reason. Squibs, one, cannot be identified until, like, adulthood. And even then, not with certainty. And two, are allowed to know about wizard shit. So, we have the same problem. Everyone should have wizards in their ancestry. Because as you multiply back, you have parents who have parents who have parents who have parents. You're going to hit a wizard sooner or later. So, how is it that the wizarding world I don't know, maybe it is half the population. Maybe 3 billion people are the wizarding world. I suppose we don't know. We have no idea how big the wizarding world is and how it compares to the muggle world. We do know that wizards can just poof up food. And so they could end world hunger, and they don't, which is douchey of them. Unless they do, I mean, come to think of it, I can't think of a direct specific mention of world hunger in the Harry Potter books. Maybe they did that. Maybe they did. And I mean, you wouldn't even have to reveal the existence of magic. Not that I buy the reasons that they give that why they shouldn't, but you don't have to reveal the existence of magic to use it to help people. Like, and this is kind of getting into some conspiracy theorist territory, and I'm a staunch anti-conspiracy theorist, but um, if a new technology were suddenly devised to be to ended world hunger, that could just produce food, how many people would be asking serious questions about how it worked? Like, I feel like that actually is a cover up that the wizarding world could pull off if it really wanted to. It wouldn't be possible in real life, but given that in the context of the wizarding world, we've already accepted that a gigantic amount of the population can be in on this conspiracy to hide the existence of magic from Muggle kind. If we accept that, we have to accept that they would be able to do it even while using it. Because I don't see why they wouldn't. If you accept one, you have to accept the other. So, why is it that they can't solve world hunger? It doesn't seem to me like there is a good reason. What else? And another, on the same vein, the healing magic thing. I mean, it'll vary, but here's the question I want to ask. Anyone who takes pharmaceuticals, if those were actually magic potions, would you know? Like, again, I don't think such a conspiracy could be pulled off in real life, because I think it would be inevitable that someone would leak this fact. But in the context of the wizarding world, I don't think it would be out of the question. I mean, especially given that there are memory charms, which, by the way, you're apparently just allowed to go around using on people. It's... And I mean, this is kind of accepting the bullshit idea that muggles must never be allowed to learn about magic. Like, the reason Hagrid gives is because everyone would then want magical solutions to their problems. Alright, well, what's wrong with that? Because, those seem to be readily available. What's more, wizards are allowed to know about technological shit. They don't all want technological solutions to their problems. Ron Weasley's dad is kind of a Muggle fanboy. He's kind of the paternal. He is to Muggles what, like, a really paternalistic weeaboo would be to Asian people. like he's like a like he is basically he's racist is what I'm saying. Just in a different way than Lucius. Let's see what else. What else? Oh, the parcel tongue thing. Are snakes sentient, like sapient, in the Harry Potter universe? Because, like, if not, I can't imagine. I don't know, it seems like in the first book, the conversation Harry had with the snake was kinda sophisticated compared to what snake brains are capable of. And I mean, talking to animals would be an awesome ability. Um, but uh, it's 11 is why I'm yawning this much, even though I normally stay up way later. Because I'm a hashtag rebel. What else? Ron's wand was a stupid thing. Like, why was he even allowed to use it? Given how fucking dangerous it was. I'll make one concluding comment. In Steve Shives' 5 Stupid Things About Harry Potter, and this is the second time I've mentioned him by name in a book vlog, but in his 5 Stupid Things About Harry Potter, he said that a thing he liked about Harry Potter was its dark sense of humor. And he was talking kind of about what he was calling its dark sense of humor. I call the shoddiness of its world building. I don't think any of it was... I'll be honest, I don't think it was intentional. I don't think that it's that how bullshitily dangerous everything is supposed to be some kind of dark joke. I think it's a matter of prioritizing like the emotional impact and the appeal and the engagingness of the story to children over having it actually make logical sense to adults who can think about it. I think that's what's going on there. I don't think it's a merit of the work for which she deserves credit. I think it's a flaw of the work for which she deserves blame. And I certainly don't think it was like something extra good that she did. And it wasn't the result of some kind of intentional attempt at dark humor. It seems to me to have simply been, again, her not prioritizing the sensicalness of her world. That wasn't what she cared about. She was trying to make engaging, moving children's books that children would like, relate to, and appreciate, and that's why everything operates according to a child's worldview. Because children are stupid and think the world works the way that it does in Harry Potter. And I think that's kind of why that's probably a big reason why the books are so popular. Because they so well mirror how children wrongly think the world operates. And also what appeals to children, so like Quidditch. The reason that Quidditch is designed the way it is not because it makes any fucking sense whatsoever. It's so that Harry can be on a team sport, so that it'll be relatable to children who are, if they're participating in sports, are going to be participating in team sports, whilst at the same time, he's the only one who actually matters and can single-handedly make up for for any and all shittiness from any of the others. That's I think that's a better explanation than dark humor, because the dangers are not particularly funny, nor are they really presented in a comedic light. Nor are they particularly dark, come to think of it, because nothing really bad ever happens as a result of them. That is, as a result of, like, the day-to-day dangers of Hogwarts. When something actually bad happens, it's in the context of a threat that you're supposed to take seriously. Like Voldemort, or, the Basilisk in this book, or Voldemort in the last book. But, I will say, okay, one last thing. I am now convinced, here's my thought, because I've been told, since I recorded the last one, that Snape is not a bad guy in the overall scope of the series. Here's my theory. The reason he's trying to get Harry Potter expelled is the same reason that Dobby tried to get him not to go. Because he wants to keep Harry Potter, like, safe and hidden and shit. And here's another theory, which I'm much less committed to, on that same line, on that same vein. The reason that the Dursleys are so awful is because they're also, like, trying to protect him somehow. So, like, the reason Dudley won't let him have any friends is because if no one knows who Harry Potter is, Harry Potter can't be found by someone or something malevolent working for Voldemort that is looking for him. That wouldn't explain all of the awful shit they do. And its purpose is kind of fucking defeated by him going to Hogwarts. Maybe that's the reason they don't want him to go to Hogwarts, is because they are legit trying to keep him safe from this stuff. Maybe that's why many of the awful people are awful, is because that's their ultimate goal. It wouldn't make what the Dursleys do okay. And again, even that wouldn't explain everything they do. So, like, that wouldn't be a reason to deliberately underfeed him while they're keeping him locked in his room. That wouldn't be a reason to basically treat him like they wish he didn't exist. And so, I don't know, I don't expect that theory to end up being actually, I do expect it to end up being true. I thoroughly expect both of those theories to end up being true, especially the one about the Dursleys. Partially because Death Battles, Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker, made some offhand statements that kind of made me think that that would be the case. I don't know. Because what it was a clip from what I presume to be one of the later movies of Harry looking rather nostalgically at his cupboard whilst Wiz says that he was kept safe by his aunt and uncle. That's what makes me think something like that is going on. That and the fact that he's repeatedly sent back there makes me think that Dumbledore must know something like that to be the case. Anyways. Please still be. Yep, you're still recording. Though, not for much longer. So I guess since I don't have much longer to go on this for, I guess I will end it now. My next book I'm reading, which I will likely do a book vlog on, is The Fall, which is the sequel to The Strain. It is also by Guillermo del Toro, which I mispronounced in the last video, and Chuck Hogan. And I think what it is that Guillermo and Chuck Hogan make the story together, and then Chuck Hogan does 100% of the actual writing. I don't think Guillermo actually chooses any of the words for the Strain books. Anyways, so that's all there is to that. Goodbye.